In this third meeting of the season, this edition of El Clásico feels like it has the least up for grabs, at least for Real Madrid. They're up 15 points on their rivals and up 10 points atop the table, so pretty comfortable at this point. Barcelona, meanwhile, are 5 points behind Sevilla with a game in hand. And as I keep saying, top 4 isn't secure until those numbers say it is. But I will admit, I'm a little less anxious than I was just a month ago, with Barcelona finding fine form in the Liga that they've been able to keep for the last 2 months. While the selections that Xavi does make in this game do matter quite a lot, I think the big question as far as personnel lies on the Real Madrid side, believe it or not. Karim Benzema's availability is a question mark for the Madridistas, picking up a calf injury in a win against Mallorca on Monday. And while I think he'll play, Benzema not being Karim Benzema would be a huge lift for Barcelona. I don't know who Carlo Ancelotti would throw up there instead. Asensio, Bale, Isco, a 4-4-2 with Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo, who is also questionable by the way. I like that there's no simple answer here. Benzema has been killing Barca in their last 4 La Liga meetups, all 4 wins from Madrid. And though he only scored in one of those, he's still the most dangerous man in white. Well, in black, I guess this time. And while it's not too noteworthy, I will throw it in here that Madrid will be wearing black, and Barcelona will be fitted in their La Señora kits this time around, which is a uniform that has felt just a bit unlucky so far, but I promise one win in El Clásico in that jersey, and that'll flip all those good vibes right around, don't you worry. I want to thank OneFootball for sponsoring this video. OneFootball is the app I use to keep myself up to date on all things FC Barcelona, everything I need to know, as well as check on every other team that Alemany could be scouting right now for a big summer transfer window. With a custom-tailored homepage, stay up to date with breaking news, live scores, and even transfer news. While on the go, you can check with matches in live time and watch videos afterwards. Use the link in the description for a free download of OneFootball on Android or iOS to put all of your football in one place. And you'll help out a tiny Barca channel too. Thanks to OneFootball again for sponsoring this video. Now back to the Barca business. As far as how this game will be played, it's pretty simple. Barcelona will look to keep possession, press high and quickly, and utilize every blade of grass on the field to keep themselves positionally disciplined and dangerous. As for Madrid, they're going to counterattack. Duh. And instead of introducing you to anybody new, I think the Madrid preview is actually pretty simple. Again, it's the same faces you probably know and probably don't love. We've already mentioned Benzema as well as Vinicius Jr. Benzema, the team's leading goal scorer with 22 goals plus 11 assists. He's also the most lethal passer in the final third with 72 passes into the penalty area. That's actually the stat that I want to circle here. If he's not at his best and can't deliver those balls, that really does shut down Madrid's attack. Vinicius Jr. has been his running mate this season with 14 goals and 9 assists. But we already knew that Barca's defense would have their hands full with those two. It's the other side of the ball that will really irritate me. Thibaut Courtois, and it pains me to say this, has been fantastic in net this season, arguably the best keeper in Spain. He saved 78.4% of his shots he's faced, second only to Bono from Sevilla in the league. In front of Courtois with that back line have been David Alaba and Eder Militao, who this year have been good to great with the occasional issue here or there, but generally consistent. And another thing I do hate saying, but Casemiro, Toni Kroos, and Luka Modric are still going to be up to their same old tricks. Casemiro with bloodshed, and Modric with class, of course. So yeah, the Madrid spine is as solid and strong as ever. Barcelona are going to have to earn this result if they get it. This is a team in Madrid that are playing with plenty of confidence, coming off a victory against Mallorca, and before that comeback against PSG. So it's not like Barcelona is going to feel like some scary opponent to Real Madrid. But there is some good news for Blaugrana though, and this is a stat via Sam Marsden of ESPN.com, as well as the Siempre Positivo podcast, and a friend of our show as well. Barca has scored 32 goals in their first 21 league games this season, and they've scored 20 in their last 6 games. These goals have Barca on a 12-game unbeaten streak. And I want to remind you that while not every recent game has been sparkling, this team has not lost a game in regulation time since Bayern Munich in December. Both losses since, one of which came at the hands of Madrid in the Spanish Super Cup, was in extra time. And even in that match, you could see the fingerprints as Xavi was already imprinting on this team after only being in the job for 2 months. There was some fight from the Blaugrana in that game in Saudi Arabia, who lost 3-2 in extra time. Goals from Vinicius, Luke de Jong, Karim Benzema, Ansu Fati in regulation, and the winner from Fede Valverde in the 98th minute. And the matchup before that seems like it was forever ago. A 2-1 loss back in October with Ronald Koeman still in charge, the day that Sergio Aguero scored his only goal for FC Barcelona. But back to the match at hand, tactically, I think this game can be won or lost for Barcelona on the wings. And I know I tend to go that way when teams are set up in those medium or low blocks, but even though Madrid have more talented players, I continue with those thoughts. But a lot of that is actually punctuated by the issues that Madrid have had at fullback. In front of those fullbacks, and because we're not too certain about Benzema, Vinicius Jr. could win this match for Madrid. Let's be upfront with that. Or he could be neutralized by a 38-year-old Dani Alves with help from Dembélé or Adama Traoré in front of him. The injury to Dest is a blow, but I think that's a long-term conversation. I think Alves or even Ronald Araujo at right back was always going to start El Clásico. Meanwhile, if Alba keeps an inconsistent Carvajal pinned back, while Dembélé or Adama give either Ferland Mendy or I pray it's Marcelo on the left a hard time, Barcelona are going to be in good shape. Because going off recent form, I think the trio for Madrid of Casemiro, Modric, and Cruz are going to be given every opportunity to control that midfield if you do catch my drift. But the recent form of Pedri plus Busquets or Frankie de Jong or Gavi next to them could mean that Barca have the better midfield trio on the night. So that's a bit of a cop-out. Yeah, the game will be won or lost on the wings, but in actuality, as romantic at heart, the game's soul will be up for grabs in the middle of the park. It seems to always feel like to be a Barca great, to really put your name in the history books, you've got to do it in El Clásico. And Pedri, at 19, could do just that tomorrow. And what I say is, let's get it out of the way early and have him be the man of the match. This is the first El Clásico in a while where I feel like Barcelona are going into this match with the same form, the same confidence, and the same ability to win that Madrid have had in recent seasons. And I hope we're in for a good one. And speaking of first El Clásico, I thought I'd leave Barcelona podcast fans with something a little bit special. You knew you'd get something here at the end, and that's a little bit of the history. We're going to head all the way back to the very first edition of El Clásico. The first ever matchup was played in the Copa de la Coronación in May of 1902, the competition that took place prior to the first ever Copa del Rey the next season in 1903. Barcelona won the match 3-1 with club founder Juan Gamper scoring 1 and German striker Udo Steinberg getting a brace. I've been doing this for going on 7 years and I've never said or written Udo Steinberg's name. He scored more than 60 goals in his Barca time, helping the team win the Copa Macaya, the Catalan Championship and the first ever trophy, also in 1902. Steinberg left the game in 1910 to focus on his professional career as an engineer. So in honor of Udo Steinberg, let's hope Barca can engineer, see what I did there, their first win in El Clásico in now 5 matches. Xavi's time as manager has already been a success in my eyes, but winning El Clásico, that's the kind of momentum you can take into next season. So make sure you come back here after El Clásico because I want to talk about it with you. And until then, as always, Forza Barca.